Jon Jones versus Daniel Cormier. This wasn't just a rivalry, it was a war. Two undefeated champions, Jon Jones, a once-in-a-generation talent, and Daniel Cormier, a relentless Olympian with a chip on his shoulder. Their hatred was palpable, sparking multiple confrontations that captivated fans. Fights broke out at press conferences, and the trash talk turned deeply personal. Jones often taunted Cormier about his past and his struggles, while Cormier fired back with comments about Jones's off-the-cage issues. Even after Jones won both bouts, the tension never faded. Their rivalry defined a generation, showcasing the intense emotions that can fuel a fight. The build-up to their first fight at UFC 182 included a heated press tour where their exchanges became legendary. Fans witnessed the intensity and animosity that made this rivalry one of the most compelling in sports. It wasn't just about titles, it was about pride, legacy, and proving who was truly the best. Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Conor McGregor. No rivalry in UFC history brought more chaos than this. The infamous Dali incident saw McGregor attack Khabib's team, igniting a firestorm that went beyond the octagon. After submitting Conor at UFC 229, Khabib leapt out of the cage, escalating tensions further and triggering a massive brawl. What started as a title fight became a cultural and political clash. Russia versus Ireland, religion, family. Nothing was off limits, making this rivalry one of the most talked about in sports history. The stakes were incredibly high, and both fighters carried the weight of their nations on their shoulders. The build-up included personal attacks and trash talk that pushed the boundaries of sportsmanship. Fans were left on the edge of their seats as the animosity between these two men turned every face-off into a spectacle. This rivalry not only captivated MMA fans, but also drew in casual sports fans, making it a pivotal moment in UFC history. Tito Ortiz versus Chuck Liddell. Once friends, then bitter enemies, Tito Ortiz and Chuck Liddell helped put the UFC on the map in the early 2000s. Their feud spanned 3 fights and years of bad blood, characterized by Liddell's brutal knockouts and Tito's relentless trash talk. Their rivalry not only showcased their contrasting styles, Liddell's knockout power versus Ortiz's wrestling and ground game, but also played a significant role in elevating the sport's profile. The UFC was still finding its footing, and their rivalry drew in fans who were eager for drama and excitement. In their first fight, Liddell knocked out Ortiz in a stunning display of power, but the rivalry continued to escalate with each encounter. Their second fight was a culmination of years of animosity, with fans eagerly anticipating how the rivalry would unfold. The emotional stakes were high, and each fighter had something to prove, making their matches not just about titles, but about redemption and revenge. Anderson Silva versus Chael Sonnen. No one had ever threatened Anderson Silva like Chael Sonnen did. Sonnen mocked Silva's country, his style, and even his legacy, turning their rivalry into a saga of epic proportions. For 4.5 rounds, Sonnen dominated the fight, showcasing an impressive strategy, until Silva pulled off a miraculous triangle choke in a stunning comeback. This unexpected victory not only solidified Silva's legacy as one of the greatest, but also made Sonnen a household name. Their rematch only intensified the grudge between them, as Sonnen continued to taunt Silva, promising to dethrone him. The build-up to their fights was filled with media hype, and intense personal exchanges captured the attention of fans worldwide. Sonnen's ability to sell the fight through trash talk and antics made this rivalry unforgettable, leading to one of the most anticipated rematches in UFC history. Ronda Rousey versus Miesha Tate. Before Amanda Nunes ruled, Ronda Rousey and Miesha Tate were the faces of women's MMA. Their feud was fueled by deep disrespect and fierce competition, with Ronda's armbars becoming legendary. Miesha's grit and determination earned her a loyal fanbase, highlighting the evolving landscape of women in combat sports. Their rivalry was not just about fights, it was a cultural moment that showcased women's empowerment in MMA. Even as coaches on The Ultimate Fighter, their clashes were constant, showcasing the intensity of their rivalry. The emotional weight of their history added layers to their fights, making each encounter not just a battle for a title, but a fight for pride and respect. Rousey's dominance in the octagon and Tate's relentless pursuit of victory made their matches must-watch events for fans, solidifying their places in UFC history. Nate Diaz versus Conor McGregor. It started with a short-notice fight and ended with one of the greatest rivalries in modern UFC. Nate Diaz shocked the world at UFC 196 by submitting McGregor, turning the narrative on its head. McGregor got his revenge at UFC 202, setting the stage for a rivalry that pitted street fighter against superstar. This rivalry was raw and gritty, embodying the essence of what makes MMA so compelling. The back-and-forth banter between these two fighters was electric, with Diaz's laid-back attitude contrasting sharply with McGregor's flamboyant persona. Fans loved every second of their exchanges, from the build-up to the actual fights, as each competitor brought their unique style and charisma to the table. The trilogy was more than just a series of fights. It was a clash of cultures showcasing the blue-collar grit of Diaz against the polished hype of McGregor. This rivalry resonated with fans on multiple levels, making it one of the most enduring in UFC history. Georges St-Pierre versus BJ Penn. This was a clash of champions. BJ Penn, a natural talent with a killer instinct, and Georges St-Pierre, a disciplined, calculated machine. Their first fight was close, but the rematch at UFC 94 showcased GSP's dominance in a way that left no doubt. The lead-up was filled with intense trash talk and accusations, making their rivalry one of the most heated in UFC history. Each fighter brought their own fan base and narrative, adding depth to the rivalry that captivated audiences. Both fighters had a mutual respect for each other's skills, but the desire to be the best added a fierce intensity to their encounters. Their matches were tactical battles, highlighting the evolution of MMA, and fans were treated to a display of high-level fighting that pushed both athletes to their limits. TJ Dillashaw versus Cody Garbrandt. Former teammates turned bitter enemies, TJ Dillashaw and Cody Garbrandt's rivalry was deeply personal. Dillashaw's departure from Team Alpha Male intensified their feud, leading to emotional exchanges and heated confrontations. The phrase "snake in the grass" wasn't just talk, it was war. Their two title fights and years of tension culminated in a rivalry that captured fans' attention. The emotional stakes were high, and each fighter had something to prove, making their matches not just about titles, but also about loyalty and betrayal. The build-up to their fights was as exciting as the bouts themselves, with fans eagerly anticipating how their animosity would unfold in the octagon. The narrative of friendship turned to rivalry added a compelling layer to their story, making it one of the most engaging in recent UFC history. Dominick Cruz versus Urijah Faber. A rivalry that lasted nearly a decade, Dominick Cruz and Urijah Faber represented contrasting styles and philosophies in MMA. Cruz, the technical tactician, faced Faber, the California kid with old-school grit. They fought 3 times, with Cruz finally settling the score in a decisive manner. Yet, their mutual hatred never truly cooled off, keeping fans engaged over the years. The rivalry was a testament to how personal relationships can evolve and impact fighters' careers, making their encounters all the more interesting. The deep-rooted animosity between the two fighters created a narrative that resonated with fans, and their fights were filled with tension and excitement. Their rivalry helped elevate the bantamweight division and brought a new level of attention to smaller weight classes in the UFC. Chuck Liddell versus Randy Couture. Legends and Hall of Famers, Chuck Liddell and Randy Couture's rivalry was about respect, legacy, and proving who ruled the light heavyweight division. Their trilogy defined a golden era in the UFC, with both men taking wins and losses. This rivalry not only established them as icons, but also set the stage for the future of the sport, showcasing the importance of legacy and respect in the world of MMA. Their battles were not just fights, they were historical moments that shaped the UFC. Each encounter brought a new chapter in their story, filled with excitement and uncertainty. Fans were treated to a showcase of skill, strategy, and heart, making their trilogy one for the ages. UFC rivalries aren't just fights, they're chapters in a bigger story. These rivalries created legends, drew millions of eyes, and changed the sport forever. Each clash was unique, filled with drama and emotion that captured the hearts of fans. Which one was your favorite? Did we miss any? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more MMA stories every week.